This is huge, and all signs point to the fact that the Chicago Bulls have found a real star in Matas Buzelis. We're going to be talking about what Kevin Durrant had to say about Matas Buzelis. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and you have found yourself on another episode of Bulls Digest. And so today, we are looking at the most recent statements here from Kevin Durrant after the Phoenix Suns beat the Chicago Bulls yesterday, 121-117. And I must say, what Kevin Durrant is saying about Matas Buzelis really has to have Chicago Bulls fans excited. I think that this is something that we already knew with Matas Buzelis. And I also think that Kevin Durrant really points to what we really want to see Billy Donovan do with Matas Buzelis down the stretch. And so before we go ahead and jump into what Kevin Durrant had to say, wanted to remind you that 67.9% of you that watch are not subscribed to the channel. So make sure that you go ahead and you mash that subscribe button, as it means a lot to us as we try to reach our end of the season subscriber goal. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the content for today and talking about this article, which you can find on NBA.com. And it is reflecting just on the loss. You'll see some comments there from Billy Donovan. But more importantly, it is what Kevin Durrant had to say about Matas Buzelis. And just as the title is saying, he is impressed with him. And so let's go ahead and jump into the first thing that he said about Matas Buzelis, which I think really points to a lot of good things here. And so let's start with the fact that, he says that he's an exciting young athlete, and he's liked him, since he was in the G League, which is good to see. But I love the fact that he's talking about, look, he's going to have his bumps, his bruises, and he's going to have that through his first couple seasons, which we know. But I like when he's talking about the more experience, the more reps, the more he gets on the floor as a starter, the better he'll become. Billy giving him more opportunity. I hear him on the sidelines. Attack, shoot the ball, be aggressive. And so, look, I love when Kevin Durrant points out the fact the more experience, the more reps he gets, the more he gets on the floor as a starter, the better he'll become. That is exactly what we have been talking about with Matas Buzelis, especially over the last course of the season here. We want to see Matas Buzelis on the floor as much as possible. I think that Matas Buzelis is in a situation where he really gets better as he goes through his mistakes, and he's a player that seems to really want that challenge. And I love that about Matas Buzelis. I think that that's something we have saw with him since day one, and it's just clear that when you put Matas Buzelis out there, and if he goes through a situation in which he is not successful, it seems like it only strengthens him, and he's able to come back. And I'll say this, I think that just to piggyback off what he's saying with the experience, I think that the more you put Matas out there and the more mistakes he gets through in year one, the better off he'll be in year two. And I think that that also too speeds up the process of the Chicago Bulls really ultimately getting to the bottom line, which is playing winning basketball again, because you know that as he gets better quickly after getting past these mistakes, we know that, he's going to get better as far as talent is concerned. He's going to get stronger. But once he gets past those mistakes, he's not going to make the same thing in year two. And so the more that you can get out of that, out of the way, I think the better off he'll be. And maybe the quicker he could be into some type of leadership role with this team. And so I love that. And I also like the fact that obviously, I'm not on the sidelines, but to hear that Coach Billy Donovan is encouraging Matas Buzelis to be aggressive out there, I think that that is a good sign. Not saying that Billy Donovan would need to, because I just feel like that Matas Buzelis has that mindset that he wants to attack, he wants to get better, which is why we love him, because he has that it factor. And, going through the bumps and the bruises, that's what experience it all comes down to it. Because look, he's not going to get better in the G League, so you don't want to send him down there. And I also think too, practicing is great, but only, practicing can only get you so far. He needs to get some game experience, and so I love that. So next up, let's talk a little bit more as to what Kevin Durrant is talking about with Matas Buzelis. And I think, again, he hits the nail really on the head here. And so first off, he's talking about the fact that it's exciting to have a young athletic wing here. And he's absolutely right, because that is something we want to see with the Chicago Bulls. We have talked about this several times with the log jam of guards, and we need this type of wings and front courts play from players like Matas Buzelis. Like, that's what we need. And so he's talking about that being a premium in this league. And so it's good to see that he realizes this, and the Chicago Bulls perhaps have one here. And he's saying that, look, at 6'9", having the ability to do the things that he can do on the floor, it's definitely exciting. And it's going to be a journey for everybody, just paraphrasing this here. But, he's saying that with these expectations, what you don't want to do is bank your whole franchise on just one player. And he's talking about that everybody needs to come with their game to show that they can become a full team. But I think he's a huge piece to that. And so I've said this, that I think that Matas Buzelis is going to be definitely a huge contributor to the Bulls playing winning basketball. I think that it's clear that as this team continues to build, he is definitely going to really help this team win some games down the line in the future. And I do agree with the fact that, yes, when you're talking about just banking everything on one player, you don't do that. You do need a team of good players. But the only way to get there is you need to go out and you have to properly evaluate these players. You really need to see exactly what you have and what you don't have, so you can construct the roster properly. And so I like the fact that he's like, look, you don't want to just go out there and give this young man, a franchise label or anything like that. Clearly the Bulls need other things. Like, you need a complete team around him. But I do like the fact that he's talking about him being a player that can do a lot of different things on the floor, which is something that I think we should see over the last course of the season, is Matas Buzelis being more of a playmaker, being more of a player that's not just standing in the corner, being a player that is slashing, being a player that is going to show us even more athleticism on the break. In fact, when you looked at this game yesterday, that step back that he did, he probably would not have done that earlier on in the season, because he would have just been standing in the corner waiting for, a three-point shot. And so it's good to see Matas Buzelis, the growth that he has. And I mean, right now, look, I know he's only averaging 6.5 points a game, 2.9 rebounds a game on 43% from the field. But 9 out of his last 10 games, he's scored in double digits. And man, he's looked good. And I think that he would have maybe scored some more in this last game had he played some more. We did talk about this where he only played 24 minutes and Kevin Huerter played 30. And so this is an NBA champion telling you this. This is an MVP of the finals and of the NBA, saying that the more playing time that he gets, especially as a starter, the better off he gets. And so I don't know if Billy Donovan is listening to that, but yes, that's exactly what we want to see. And so anyway, let me know in the comments what you think here about Kevin Durant and his recent comments about Matas Buzelis. Do you agree with that? Do you think that, yes, it does point to the fact that, yes, Billy Donovan needs to play Matas Buzelis extensively here down the stretch to really help him in his growth, in his development, because I think the sooner that he gets past his mistakes, the sooner that he can get past some of those growing pains, I think the more of a contributor he can be for this team. And I really think that also does help you as far as how you're going out and drafting and how you're picking up additional players to really go with Matas Buzelis moving forward. All right. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about this. And as I always say, go Bulls, and I will see you on the next one. All right. Peace.